What is up?
Hi, and welcome to the Wild Wild West. My name is Richie Riche of the MHRT Network. Over that away, the hand motions on this particular stream all over the map is DZ representing his Los Angeles Chargers. And down directly below both of us is Nabman representing Las Vegas Raiders. We're going to have an interesting show for you tonight. Got two main topics we're going to go over. It is going to be obviously a recap of my Denver Broncos loss to the New England Patriots in the championship game. And then we are going to get in shortly thereafter into coaching updates. There have been several over the NFL, including some on my Denver Broncos, which was an interesting turn of events after that game. So we have lots to talk about. It'll be an interesting show for sure. If you have questions, comments, please leave those down below. And if you haven't already, click that thumbs up button and obviously share this if you wouldn't mind with anyone else that is a football fan. We'd love to have you and them here. So let's get into it. Obviously a disappointing game for me. I expected better. It started off kind of how I thought the game was going to roughly go, where the Broncos kind of drive down the field was where I thought things might end up. I believe that the Broncos offensive line was going to be a bit of a tough task for the New England Patriots defensive line. And I thought that we were going to be able to run the ball a little bit better against them, given the fact that there was likely going to be a mismatch in that regard. I was correct to a point, and then they adjusted, and we did not. And that may tie in rather neatly into the second segment of the show, because 1 + 1 sometimes does equal 2. So that was that. Some disappointing elements in that game, obviously, for me. I felt that the Broncos were the better team on the field, even in that game, even with the loss. So it was rather frustrating for me to see how we just failed to capitalize overall. It just seemed that play calling, game plan, all the different things were just, they were too slow. They weren't adapting fast enough. We weren't moving at a pace that we needed to. We weren't mixing up the pace of the game. Jared Stidham is very good at calling from the line of scrimmage and adapting. That's one of his superpowers, and we didn't use it at all. It was just a whole lot of head scratching from my part, to be quite honest. The other thing that I was very disappointed to see, back to the play calling thing, again, there's a theme on the offensive side, is Jared Stidham has shown that he has a very good ability to throw seam routes and crossers to large body tight ends. So whether that be us using little Jordan Humphrey in that role, who is like 6'4" and like 230, basically a tight end, and then we also have Troutman and Ingram, and we very rarely use them in their typical kind of blocking, chipping, and then pass catching role as kind of those combinations. And it was really disappointing to see.
Richie, did any of your guys' tight ends have a target?
Ingram did, yeah.
Okay.
One, I think. I think it was one, wasn't it?
It was like one, maybe two.
I just want to say,
Jack,
I mean,
it is.
For whoever, I mean, watching that game, like in the second half, I feel like playbooks went out the window.
They did.
Or people, like, the playbooks went out the window, and it was like survival of the fittest at that point. Like, who's going to blink first? And
yeah.
I saw a lot of people putting blame on Sean Payton for his play calls. I'm not going to jump on that. I'm not going to say he was doing bad or good.
I'm with you.
I would rather the Broncos fans, they could say it. That's their coach.
That's their coach. They can say it.
They can, yeah. But I honestly think the weather took a hold. But it's almost like hindsight's 2020. It's like all that scoring should have been done in the first half before that it turned like it did. And then we saw at the end of the game from the Patriots, like they were throwing the ball away on third down, and it was just a possession game. There's like, all right, we're just gonna have our defense out there. And look, I got to give credit to the Patriots, man. And I hate saying this because
I
didn't have any faith in these guys, considering who they played this season and where they were at last year to this year. But their defense has shown up in the playoffs. And there's caveats to all of it, but no matter what, take all that out, their defense has shown up. And
Gonzalez got freaking actually exposed.
He did.
Sutton exposed him.
Yeah. I mean, and then
so just saying.
There was a big issue for Richie's team. He didn't have his starting quarterback in there. And, for a good chunk of this this season, his best running back, they missed their best running back in J.K. Dobbins, who would have been a huge boost for the Broncos. That being said, man, it was an ugly game. It was an old school AFC score. And I think after that game, you have a lot of owners going, and I mean, Richie, we talked about it in our chat. It's a lot of ownership throughout the league are like, we're putting roofs on our stadiums, and it's going to be unfortunate because those games are going to be. I hate it. Yep.
I hate it.
There'll probably be a few teams that don't do it, like probably Green Bay. They probably won't do it. They're going to hold out. But I think, Broncos are getting a whole new stadium. I think that's got a roof and the whole nine. And yeah. But
my first and gut reaction to that is if it's snowing, like let's be honest, right? Some of the classic NFL games that we have seen are in the snow.
Yeah.
Like it creates a different dimension to the game. It adds a different style of play. And there's only a handful of teams in reality that are going to have the ability to have snow games, right? Like Buffalo
and the Patriots were one of them.
Patriots, Broncos, like,
Steelers.
You got a handful of teams that can do it, man. And it's just an absolute shame to see the NFL trying to push for this, because that was, the classics, like some of the classics were like half snow, half standard.
And you said something, you mentioned Stidham. His strength, throwing down the seams to tight ends and whatnot, and kind of those anticipatory, why can't I say that word, but passes there, that was like all gone, especially towards even getting towards halftime. And it's like, it was kind of a tough watch. Like he tried his best, and I would have liked to see him use his legs a little more because, let's face it.
That's what he was known for.
Well, but that's what Bo's strength was, right? Like Bo can use his
not
legs.
his strength, but that was Stidham's strength. Stidham was more of a, it's not there, go.
Right.
Bo was a 1-2 progression guy, then do what I need to do with my legs.
Yeah.
Stidham was more of a number one's not there, gotta go. They quickly tried to just kind of change his mind a little bit, and it looked okay at first.
And then
really
also, who was it? Troy Franklin was a scratch, right? With a hamstring, I believe. So that's one of the top receivers. That hurt.
That hurt big time.
If anything, I think this eventually opened the Broncos, front office's eyes, or the coaching staff's eyes of like, okay, we need these type of guys going toward, for the future. And there's some things that obviously JK, Bo, and Franklin, what are you going to do about that? But Bo was a huge one in my opinion.
We also lost Bryant again. So Bryant was there for the game. He does a lot of the dirty cleanup yards where he kind of captures a lot of guys in the middle of the field and kind of brings them away from the play. Because if they don't follow him, then he gets the ball and he pretty much doesn't drop it. Like he just doesn't. Like he's got great hands in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
And he does like the dirty yard catches and the contested balls, and he does that pretty well.
Hey, Richie,
So
if I may answer a question right quick in the chat.
which one?
Bishop says, Chiefs fans MIA tonight. They're always MIA. They're only fans when they're winning. They only show their face when they're winning. It's it's not a surprise.
Nav said it. I didn't say it. Nav said it.
Yeah. So
it's not a surprise.
No. So when we look at who we had on the field, you're not wrong in terms of players, though. So, but the thing is this. So you made a comment about an old school style of football. I agree to a point. It was an old school look in terms of the field and the snow and that kind of stuff. But the Broncos refused to own what was being done on the field. They refused to own it. So as an example, there was two ways of combating what they were having happen to them on the field. Number one is you throw out Frank Crum as the jumbo set, who's proven to be an effective blocker and very athletic, like very athletic.
Interesting.
Given the fact that he is like somewhere between a monster and just a massive human. He's like 6'7".
Big E.
Pardon me?
He's JJ Pegues for the Raiders that we don't use enough.
Yeah, he's massive, right? So you got this dude over there who's basically a berserker Viking with the bleach blonde hair that's like long. It's just like this just mammoth dude. And they didn't
go kill somebody.
Yeah, they didn't use him at all. And then we also had another interesting issue on the field, which was McGlinchey was getting killed, like slaughtered, like literally slaughtered.
Bad matchup for him.
And we had Powers back. We still have Palcho.
My boy.
Why don't we kick dude out to the right tackle where he showed to be a more like a superior run blocker? And
that's where he lived. That's where he lived for
that
years.
Was his deal, man. And so why are we acting a fool and just like sticking with what you got and making no adjustments and no changes? It makes no sense to me. And even if you want McGlinchey to be the extra lineman, like flanking on the outside to really kind of maybe help a guy like Palcho who is like learning the ropes, but then have him keep like, look here. But then Palcho's athletic enough to actually do what he needs to do to stop the guy. Right? Do that. But we didn't do anything. We made no changes and adjustments, and we just got blown up over and over and over and over again. And eventually, what
Christian Barmore or whatever
Stidham kind of got
had a game.
Yes.
Well,
and that was all on the right hand side. That was all the right hand side.
And my thing was, when you're up 7-0 in a game like this, I know analytics tell you to go for it, but goddamn it, kick the fuck football. Get yourself up 10-0. Changes the game plan on the other side of the field. That is a coaching decision. That is the only coaching decision that I have an issue with, because it was an analytic decision instead of a thought process. Be up 10. You're up 2 scores. That changes the other team's mindset on how they have to roll. You know what I mean?
A little bit. I agree. My comment here, and I love, because I already know the answer from a bunch of Broncos country before I make this comment. And I'm going to make it just to rub salt in the wound just because I can. And because I'm sick of hearing crap. Yeah, I'm calling all of you out. I actually like the 4th and 1 call. I thought that was good. However,
I don't hate it in that situation. The way the game was going, nobody can score. Points are a premium.
But that's see, I disagree with you there. And this is why. And I'll explain why. And I'll get back to what I was originally trying to get at before, which was at that point of the game, the drive before, we had just marched straight down the field with very little resistance and scored like a perfect back corner touchdown to Sutton in the back of the end zone.
Should have ran the football.
Perfect, right? Perfect. And then we did it again, right? We got all the way down the field, a few hiccups there, but by and large, we were basically having our way going down the field. And so, from a momentum perspective, you do
Run
what
the
Sean
football.
Payton. I actually agree with that too. Yes, I agree. But that's my point though, is that you go for it on 4th and 1 there. I was banging in the chat and stuff with my with some fans and stuff. I was like, run it, or go for it. And then when we went for it, we called some like naked bootleg.
What the fuck is that?
And
Why?
I'm like, okay, stop it. Like, just stop it.
Yeah,
And
why are
like
basic? Why are you not basic at this point?
Again, you go down to the jumbo set on the offensive line. You basically push the dude clear across the line there to get that extra bit and say,
And you can do that.
We are getting this no matter what, and there's nothing you can do to stop us. And that is what you're looking for in that situation. You're wanting the confidence killer for the other team so that they then lose the mental mind game, and then
Now
they're
you're
on
down
an
14-0.
Now you're done
Now what?
14-0. Now you're really at a disadvantage, and you're really pushing it.
However, you make that play call, it should have been a freaking option for Stitt, where he could actually, it's not there. Let me go.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That it's one of those where he was told as a backup quarterback, you're going to throw it to this guy. And that is a bad decision by any coach ever. You got to let the fuck quarterback make a decision. Sorry, I just F-bombed.
I'm not even convinced that Stidham had that option.
First time I was ever pissed off that the Broncos lost in my life.
Yeah.
I promise you that. That's a fact.
Yeah. But here's the thing, right? Is I'm not even convinced that Stidham had the flexibility at the line of scrimmage to do the sort of things that he does. I got the impression that he was basically told to sit down, shut up, and do what he was told.
Yes.
And I am quite disappointed by that. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about that in the second segment of the show, because again, 1 + 1 does sometimes equal 2. And
equal 3 in this one.
Oh, I agree. And so what my gut reaction on this one was, it was a bad play call. I thought the actual idea was good. I thought it was going to do the right thing for the Denver Broncos. I had no problem.
If it was an RPO, it was a great idea.
If it was an RPO, that's fine. But it wasn't even that, because the running back wasn't even right beside him. The running back went the other direction.
Right.
And the naked boot was going to be the design all along. And in fact, the play call itself was confirmed that was the specific play call after the game and then the day after the game.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm sorry, you've lost me on that. Like, you just have.
But here's the thing: if you look at the Patriots defense without Spillane in there, the moment a running back touches the ball, the linebackers vacate the middle of the field. They vacated the middle of the field. If you can get them to just fake toss over there or something, you can get them to move. Spillane would not fall for that shit. Spillane wasn't in the freaking game. Trust me, I know that dude. That dude will stay put and live to his assignment. And him not being in the ball game, you should have attacked the middle of the field the entire freaking game. If you're going to do that, you should have done it over the middle. Because those linebackers quick toss to the outside with loaded up over there, and then tight end into the middle, boom, done. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
And it blew my mind that Sean Payton didn't know that shit.
Yeah.
Spillane's not in there. He's not that dude. There's nobody in there that's that dude. And that's what Seattle's going to destroy them because of it.
Yeah.
This game surprised me because I've heard from some like NFL guys on shows. They talk about snow games. Now, not all snow games are the same because there's different types of snow, different types of turf. But they say, especially in snow games, they say the offense has an advantage because the
I don't think
defense.
so.
Well, the defense, you slip, offense can push their way. They're just talking about it's like if you have a good offense, you got a good running game, whatever. You got quick throws.
If you're running the football, I agree with you, DC.
But even misdirection with the wide receivers and such.
Understood, but it's still harder to catch the football too.
Well, that's yes and no because they say that wind is probably the only thing that screws up catching the ball. Obviously, there's wet. If you got a bad rain, they change the gloves. They go from like leather to synthetic for different wet conditions.
Sure. Well, they change their gloves pretty much every time they go to the.
Right. Yes, it probably was difficult. I think visibility and obviously I think we were talking in this chat right now. 4 out of 5 field goals were missed, so there's obviously some wind swirling around in there. But this is kind of like I see why Broncos fans are like a little ticked off in the play calling. I'm just kind of reiterating what I've heard.
No, I'm with you. I'm with what you're saying, DZ. I'm not disagreeing with you. What I'm saying is though, the defense is actually at an advantage in a cold game, and it wasn't that cold in reality.
Yeah. I'm just hearing what I've heard about this is like.
No, I'm just saying it wasn't that cold. It was like a 30-degree game, and it just started snowing. That's not a big deal. That's more of an advantage to the offense because they don't know where the offensive player is going as far as the wide receiver. However, when it's a cold game, in my opinion, like a 6-degree game, that's a defensive.
Yeah, because
advantage.
you get tired of getting hit at that point. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like when you play cold,
you get tired of getting hit.
Yeah,
you can't catch footballs without your fingers killing you.
But I just really feel like I kind of agree with what I heard is this should have been a better offensive game on both sides for both teams. This 10-7 score is, I mean, it just shows how good probably the Broncos defense is. We all know that. And like I said earlier in the show, how surprising the Patriots defense has been, in my opinion, especially in these playoffs. But I'm just surprised with these two, play callers that this is what was achieved. And
yeah, all I'm saying is 30 degrees is different from like 6 degrees.
Sure.
It is completely different. The defense, in my opinion, when it's single digits, is in the advantage. When it's 30 degrees and snowing, the only thing about that's visibility. That's really all.
I did see a play in the game. I think it was the interception Stidham threw, and it was almost like the Patriots were camouflaged because they were wearing their all whites.
Yeah,
and it was in the second half, and it was kind of like that white stuff was swirling, and I think they were talking on the side.
Yeah, the one Sutton dropped also. It was like somebody put a freaking wall in front of his face.
And I think they were talking
which is that? Which one's the ball?
I forget her name, the sideline reporter, but she was saying that
Aaron Andrews.
Yeah, she was saying Andrews. That one direction was better than the other for like the offense. If you're going one way, the defense has the snow in their face.
Actually better.
Yeah. So I thought it was kind of interesting, but the Patriots might have had a slight advantage with wearing all whites. You never know. I don't know.
Hey, but I got to do one thing it's my job to do. James Furpo, this dude's always at work. And what he does is he screams Raiders. So I'm not asking you guys to freaking do that because you won't,
put it on mute,
even if I ask you. But I'm going to do this for James Furpo because he's always at work. I think he has 3 jobs. And DZ actually took his earbuds out. Raiders! There you go, James. Love it. Hey, you got it, buddy. when you pop in, I got you because you're always at work. So I'm just saying. Anyway, sorry to interrupt the flow. Go ahead, Rich. Sorry. But yet, still, to me, I think the Broncos should have took every single point they had an opportunity to take. 4th and 1 or 4th and 10, I don't care. This was a game where points was going to matter. That's all I'm saying.
I honestly think that the two sides, both Broncos and Patriots, really, and I mean, who knows? You know, these organizations have weather people telling them what the hell's coming, but I bet you they're like, oh, we got the second half, it'll be fine, and we just all saw in the second half it was a complete shit show.
So normally what the Broncos do is they have their scripted plays that are there to inform what they're going up against and how the team plays. And so they're specifically designed to try to counter the defense, but then also inform the offense on what the defense is doing against them. The problem is that you're dealing with a very savvy defensive head coach in Vrabel. Like, he is a skilled and gifted head coach. And you're not going to have the same success against a guy that's intentionally masking the defense against you. Another guy that was very good about doing that, which was mentioned in the chat, was Bill Belichick. Because he was such a gifted defensive coach, he would intentionally mess around with your scripted plays just to screw you up. like that was his goal. He'd be like, this is fun. and then you'd get midway through and then you'd give him the second look again, and then he'd act completely different. Like, he'd have the defense do something completely different. And that's why Bill Belichick has credited Peyton Manning as being the most difficult quarterback he's ever gone up against, because Peyton Manning was basically the offensive coordinator on the field. And he was just like, I don't care. Like, I'll adjust to the crap that you're putting in front of me. I don't need the offensive coordinator to give me crap.
Hey,
so
Bruce Arians straight up said that. He said, here is the plan to deviate from. Hey, and here's the plan to deviate from. Here you go. This is what we want to do. But if you don't see it, you fix it. Okay?
Just go. Just go.
Yeah, you fix it.
Yeah. So
Bruce Arians is one of the most direct, full out telling you how shit went with Peyton Manning than anyone else.
Yeah, I agree. So when we're looking at kind of what happened overall, we'll just kind of go through a couple more things. Overall, I thought the Broncos defense played pretty well.
Oh, no question.
Overall, I was fairly happy with, generally speaking, how they played.
I mean, Richie, Drake May was like 10 for what? Like, he only completed 10 passes. I mean,
10 for 21.
Let me see.
Something like that. 10 for 27.
10 for 21. You were right, Nav.
Yeah. 10 for 21.
86
27.
yards.
Yeah, for 86 yards.
So the one thing I was a little bit disappointed with the defense, and it's the only thing, literally the only thing, was I expected to see more all-out blitzes in more portions of the game, because Drake May has a propensity, and has done so throughout the majority of the playoffs and the regular season, of having difficulties holding on to the ball when he gets hit.
Yes.
And I wanted more traffic around Drake May to punch the ball out and jostle him and kind of get in his head a little bit more. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, 10 for whatever is a spectacular stat. So, not too shabby. But at the same time, I felt that the Broncos could have basically made him do things by getting to him more often and making him more uncomfortable. And I felt that we got a lot of pressure, but we didn't get enough like direct QB hits as much as I would have preferred, and we did not get sacks. And so I was really wanting. Well, we got some sacks, but we didn't get as many as I thought we were going to get.
Right.
And I felt that that's because we didn't do all-out blitzes. And Vici, this is actually where I agree with you. The Broncos playing the way that they did, they should have had a spy. However, the counter to that, and this is where I believe we should have gone instead, was gone all-out blitz. And that counters the need for a spy, because the goal there is you're getting right to the quarterback and you're not even allowing him to have the ability to run. And I would have liked to have seen things like that, including even a delayed blitz on an all-out blitz package, which the Broncos have been one of the most successful teams at doing this season in the NFL, and it's not even close.
Yeah, I didn't like Surtain on freaking on I would have preferred Surtain on freaking Diggs all day. That instead of the other way around. You know what I mean? I didn't like that Diggs was left freaking just trolling all over everywhere. I think Surtain should have been on Diggs all day. I don't understand. That's my plunk on that defense. However, I mean, hell, Drake May didn't throw for 100 yards.
I mean, Nav, Diggs only had 17 yards. He was a non-factor essentially. He
was 3 for 17 for 3 first downs, was it not?
Well, he had 5 recoveries for 17, and he had 6 targets. But I mean, I guess I'm looking at this. Nobody was really factored except for Mac Hollins with that huge play.
Mac Hollins. That is one dude that left the Raiders that I was like, that's going to suck. He's going to make
second time. That's the second time that Mac Hollins has just like ran all over the Broncos, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know how.
Mac Hollins, what was it? 2 years ago? Mac Hollins put like freaking 200 yards on you guys.
Yep.
Like 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
That was when Carr was still the quarterback.
Yes. Yeah.
Just torched you over the middle.
Yeah. So overall, like my big thing is I wanted May more uncomfortable. I wanted more hands on the football. I wanted May to second guess every time he went to like bring the ball back, whether or not it was going to get knocked out of his hands, sort of thing. Like I wanted that to be the mental mindset that he was in. And look, we got to him a few times. I think there was like 3, maybe 4 sacks, something like that. Like we did get to him a few times. So like fine, fair enough. But not that persistent pressure that like, oh my gosh, I look up and I got a dude in my face.
At least a 5-man rush. At least. Because the thing was, they weren't doing anything to you. They weren't hurting you. Why are you not pressuring the quarterback trying to get a turnover? Why are you not doing that? I agree with you.
Yeah, and I'm not saying do a full blitz and stuff all the time or whatever. I'm just saying needed more of it.
5-man rush. 5-man rush. Bring a safety. Bring a linebacker.
This is what I forgot to say. Go ahead, Nav. But I something popped up on my head.
No. I'm good. I'm just agreeing with him.
Dude,
that's all.
A guy on the field for the Broncos that I thought was like MVP, Alex Singleton. I was watching him play, and I was just like, okay, dude, hell yeah.
Was it our chat? Was it our chat or was it on the stream that I was on? I can't remember which one. I think it was our chat.
Wasn't here.
I said in the chat, and I have it on my phone so I can screenshot it. I said, watch out for Alex Singleton.
Yoda.
He is a former CFL player who's used to playing in Winnipeg, which is like like you walk outside and your balls fall off. It's so cold.
Yeah.
Like it is that cold. So he's used to like the worst of the worst weather.
He's wearing a
And
T-shirt out there.
yes, he
don't
was.
care.
Yeah, he doesn't. He grew up in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, and then moved to the States for football kind of thing. And so he's
or
like
Michigan or somewhere.
no. He grew up in Canada. One of his parents, I think, is Canadian, and he's
either
like
way,
insane.
He's a northern.
He's definitely got kind of.
He had 12 tackles, 4 solo in the game. Dude was definitely setting the tone for the Broncos defense.
Singleton was like the
and I know we're not going to talk about future stuff, but I know he's a free agent this year. Him and Stranad.
He is,
and I'm just like,
That's what we need.
There's a lot of teams that are going to be like, we need that guy on our team to set the tone.
We got a lot of money for that guy.
And DZ, here's the kicker. If you talk to almost anybody else but me, they will say, we will give you Singleton and a ham sandwich to make him gone.
Oh, wow.
What? Are you serious?
Look, that's the devil's lettuce is legal in Colorado. So,
hey, that's what a lot of Raider fans said about Robert Spillane. Robert Spillane going to the Patriots is what got him there, even though he's not there now. You know what I mean? Robert Spillane is a freaking troll in the middle of the field, runs the freaking defense, and gets everybody lined exactly in the play where it needs to be. You know, that type of shit. I was like, damn, why didn't he stay with us? I mean, we offered him pretty much the same deal, just a year shorter, but with Las Vegas not having state taxes, it's the same deal. Why did he go? Well, it's because we suck. That's why. He saw some upside with the Patriots. That's why he left. That's why I tell everybody.
Who's the Patriots DC? I know it's Vrabel's kind of DC, but I know it's his defense, but I forget what that guy's name is.
Damn, I don't even know.
Anybody in the chat want to look
He's
it up?
quite good, though.
I've been, like I said, man, like I was not sold at all on the Patriots. And then I just started.
Terrell Williams.
Yep, Terrell Williams.
Okay. He just came out of nowhere. I think there's going to be a lot of coaches next season that are going to be coming out of nowhere. People are going to be like, who the hell is this guy? And we're going to see a lot of that.
Remember Terrell Williams when he played?
Wait, these are two different Terrell Williams, aren't they?
No, same.
Wait a second. Why am I thinking it was like some chubby white dude on their sideline that was their DC? Am I wrong about this? They kept showing him. I've seen him many times. But also, I don't want to like hate on the Patriots, but there's a guy that is kind of like a Patriots like fan favorite, Will Campbell, their left tackle. That guy just has looked pretty bad all playoffs. So I don't know. I guess it's just his rookie year, so whatever.
My take on that is actually I actually expected him not to be good, and that's why he got beat pretty badly by pretty much most of the Broncos defense that was on his side. And he got away with murder, man. That dude got away with murder in terms of what he did. He was holding, he was grabbing.
They barely called any penalties in this game. I think there was like 3 or 4 penalties the whole game. So
and so. On that note there, the other issue I had in this game, especially when it was so close, was the Drake May attempt up the middle. The NFL and the officials, they've already come in and apologized to say that was wrong. Like that was a bad call. And what kills me about that, and I would like to know, I thought the balls had chips in them.
Yeah, so did I.
Not yet. No,
I'm pretty sure
they may, but they're not using them. It's not been.
Are they not using them during the playoffs? They've used them this season because that's how they do the virtual marking.
But that's the only thing it's for is first downs. That's it.
Okay,
that's what this was. This
Oh,
was a first down.
but I don't know why they didn't use it then.
Yeah, but that's my point, Nav, is that like the whole point of the chip was first downs, and the bad call was for a first down on a fourth down.
Oh, I know what
call
you're talking about now. Okay, I was thinking something else.
where Drake May was absolutely short, visually on screen. There was no denying it. It was super plain as day, and the NFL's already come out and said, "Yeah, sorry, we screwed up." And it's like,
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
kinda
it wasn't like 2 inches short. It was like a yard.
He was like a yard.
short.
He was like a yard short. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a 4th and 1 play, and he didn't get the one.
I just don't know what the rules are on that, when they go to that.
They make it up as they go, man.
They do.
It was flat. No, Nav, this is the problem that I have. I'm almost positive that was the play that Sean Payton threw the red flag on, and he was overruled.
I don't know. I don't know if it was or not. I don't particularly remember that play.
And that makes no sense to me. That makes no sense.
I mean, if they're using the chip, then they should use it for every single play to mark the ball. It shouldn't be like when it's a big one. They should be using it for every single play. If they're going to use it, you use it for every single play where to mark the ball. You know,
I agree, but
right here.
I agree, but I think what should happen is the refs should call it on the field, and then as they're going up to reset for the play, I think that the adjustment should happen as they're about to reset to keep the pace of play going, so that we're not sitting there. Yeah, like that kind of stuff, right?
That might be part of the reason why it didn't happen, because of pace of play.
Well, that's you can't do that in a playoff game, in my opinion, because you just can't.
But I mean, but the thing is, if that's what you're going to make it for, like as a rule for pace of play, then you can't like change it just because it's an important play. You know, you have to go with the humans on the field that say this.
But my point. So maybe I'm not speaking clearly. What I'm saying is, when a team makes a play and gets to a certain spot on the field, and it's ruled to say like a 3-yard gain or whatever,
right.
And let's say the actual chip indicates that it's meant to be a 4-yard gain rather than a 3-yard gain.
Right.
As the ref goes to place the ball down at the spot to allow the teams to reset, the ear call should come in and say that was a 4-yard gain, and they simply just move the ball up a yard to allow for the proper adjustments to take place.
And then
right?
the ref just look left and right and go, "That's a first down." If it is.
And then on this particular type of call, because I'm pretty sure this is one that Sean Payton actually like threw the red flag on, this should be very cut and dry. This should be whistle was blown at this point. Chip says this. Yard markers this. It's either a yes or a no. But the NFL has already come out after the fact. They've already like put it on the official thing that the play call was incorrect. Like on the field, that play call was incorrect.
And that's another thing. The whistle. When the whistle happens, the problem is when any ref on the field blows a whistle, the play's dead as it stands.
Correct.
So if there was any referee that blew a whistle, it's as it is when the play happened. They look at the video and go, "Oh, that's where the whistle was."
Yeah,
is over right there. You know, so
it's kind of a good point, Jack.
It's yes and no. Yes and no, but the thing is that there's a time and date stamp and a down to like the millisecond and stuff on the actual feed that the NFL has.
Right, I'm with you.
And so when the timestamp shows that knee went down, whistle or not, the chip can then be looked at that same interval of timing where it was, and it's just a definitive answer. So I totally get with what he's saying, but the point is you either leverage the technology that you have at your disposal or you don't.
Or
stop half-assing it. Stop half-assing it.
You either do it or you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
You either do it or you don't. Yeah, and look, here's the thing. I don't want to eliminate the human element, but you don't do it halfway. You either do it or you don't. You know, it's simple. Are we going to turn it into fucking Tecmo Bowl? Sure, should do that. Or we can just unfuck the referee thing and make them full-time employees for the NFL.
Nope.
Who was that ref guru that said no?
I know ref told you some stuff. All of us told some stuff. Got us freaking on that train. But the thing is, you either do that or you go electronic. There's no in between. You can't have both. I'm a firm believer you're going to do it one way or the other way.
I think you're right. I think you basically have to say you use the technology at your disposal to be an unbiased arbiter of the truth, because the technology doesn't give a crap about your feelings. It just is or it isn't. And I think that's totally fair. Now, I think that you have the human element that comes into play for, say, 90% of the plays. However, there's plays like that one, like the fourth down conversion there, where it's like, no. Like, people couldn't see, but the chip doesn't lie.
Right. So what if
that's the point.
What if I said this? The referee has the option to use whatever electronic option he needs to make a decision.
Yep.
Based on a challenge flag.
I agree.
Okay, so if a challenge flag happens, he can use whatever elements he wants and take as long as he wants to come up with a decision. Because if a coach throws a challenge flag, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Everything needs to be looked at. That's everything. New York calling them because they always have a freaking retired referee like Sarator or somebody like that up in there saying, hey, here's what I think. Here's what I saw. And then, hey, we got the chip on the ball. Here's where it came out, or here's where it was when he went down, or whatever it may be. Let's leave it to the head referee. Let's just make the head referee a full-time NFL ref. You know, a full-time salary NFL referee, the head guy. Let's not moving these fuckers around, you know? And then anybody else, they're going to have say, but they're not going to have that kind of say. You know what I mean?
That's a good one, Paul. That's a good one.
Yeah.
oh shit! I'm sure that was freaking fun. Where's that at, Paul?
Oh, it's not the first time. They keep on saying I look
How
like
did you get Mike McCarthy to come on the show?
That's
no. And now I see now I see. How was that Steelers press conference, Richie? Was it good?
I love Pittsburgh.
You cried a little bit.
I don't think I've cried in I can't remember how long.
No. McCarthy cried his ass off in like 2 seconds in that press conference.
Yeah.
Then I'm definitely not Mike McCarthy, because that's just I have some choice words for that crap. Anyways,
he really did. He cried. He wasn't like 10 seconds into there going. He's a Yinzer. He's from Pittsburgh, so
I think he was crying because he got another shot at being a head coach, and it just so happened. It just so happened to be his childhood team, but like that dude was on his way out. You know what I mean? Like that was not what the Steelers do. The Steelers' last two head coaches, Bill Cowher and Mike Tomlin, were young, first-time guys. And so this is just goes against the grain of what the Rooneys have done.
Let's be clear. The Steelers have had 3 head coaches in 69 years.
Right.
So just saying, Mike McCarthy, Richie, you guys, you best freaking go for 20. That means you're going to be 82, bro. Just keep it up.
I don't think he lasts longer than 5 seasons, in my opinion.
I don't think he
No.
might not last 2.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Anyways.
But overall, I think that there was a few questionable ones. I understand that there's some other pieces in the other one, but I also disagreed with the backwards pass one as well. He tried to like chuck it over to a wide receiver, but then Ellis came and knocked it back as Stidham was trying to chuck it. I honestly and truly, I think that was a bad call. I actually thought that the original call on the field was correct, that it was a loss of down and that it was a forward pass, but it was a loss of down. Right. As it was technically
that's true.
Intentional grounding. Yeah,
intentional grounding, forward pass attempt, whatever.
And it was a good call.
No, but they reversed it. They actually called it a backward pass and then a defensive interception.
I thought it was a good call right off the get-go.
Yes, I agree.
Because the attempt was forward. You know what I mean? Just because a defensive player makes contact with the ball and it goes backwards does not make it a forward pass or a backwards pass. You know what I mean? There was contact with that football.
Yes.
You know, so I didn't like that shit at all. I was like, that was a bad call. That was, to me, the worst call in the game. But it was so close.
Okay, so Paul, let me get this straight. Your quarterback's about to make a throw, and a defender, as the ball is just released, bats it backwards. Does that mean that that's a backwards pass? Because that's effectively, effectively the same thing.
By rule, I looked at it by rule. If it's affected as the ball is released from the hand, it cannot be called a backwards pass.
Right.
Let's see. What did I write down? 7-1-3-1-3-4-2 rule.
Right. That's kind of what I was getting, right? Is that I totally understand that was a call.
Because my wife asked me, I had to look up the rule. I'm just saying. I said, no, that should not be a backwards pass. She goes, but it went backwards. I'm like, there's no way this gets over.
No, Paul, I don't think you understand. Paul, I don't think you understand. And I appreciate the interaction, by the way. Thank you for the chat here today. The pass was deflected. Like the dude's hand from the defense tipped the pass as it came out of Stidham's hand. Now, the question is, are you deeming the fact that it didn't go past the line of scrimmage as a backwards pass? Because that's not a backwards pass. That's intentional grounding.
No, the thing about it is, I guess the question over in the chat is, here's the thing. There was an attempted pass. The ball was headed forward. It was actually deflected backwards.
Correct.
That is not a backwards pass. It can't be called a backwards pass according to that rule. So as long as it hits the ground, it's basically an incompletion. It's not a intentional grounding. It's not anything. Once a defensive player touches that ball, it doesn't matter who was in the area.
Well, I wasn't willing to go that far because I just thought Stidham just made such a crap decision on that play that I kind of wanted him. Like I wanted him penalized for that, so I was fine with that part because I was like, "You need to learn a lesson."
I will just tell you that the only reason I looked into the rule of it was because my wife goes, "Why is that not a fumble when it happened?" I said, "Well, I think it's not a fumble because the defensive player actually got their hand on the ball."
Damn,
And it cannot be a fumble because of that. As long because that should be this.
Yes.
Deflected. Yeah. That's one ref on that field should have went deflected ball. That's that. Just so the chat can see deflected ball. Once the deflected ball happens, the only thing you can do with it is intercept it. You know?
Yes.
So the Broncos and Raiders got talking, saying the Broncos got cheated. If so, I'm watching the wrong show. Trying to figure out what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, he's basically saying that we're agreeing that, like, what was called on the field, you and I are agreeing we both believe was the wrong call.
It was a tight one. But if you look at it, the moment that ball comes out of his hand and a defensive player gets a, unless it was in his hand, when that defensive player touched it, it's tuck rule all the way around. It's not a fumble.
Yeah.
And the moment the defensive player touches the moment it comes out of his hand, it's an incomplete pass unless somebody intercepts it. It's one of those where it's like, come on. Where is it? Oh, all right. So Chiefs fan for life. What was your record this year?
Well, I'm not even willing to go there. So what I will say to this this particular comment, because I believe that they're referring
all I
to
hear
the,
is excuses. All I hear is excuses for the Chiefs fan. Hey, we're looking for a Chiefs guy that will actually show their face on this show. Are you willing to do so?
Nav's got a good point. Nav's got a great point.
Yeah. So
I mean,
so in here, hold on. Let me take this one just real quick. So the exact, like, one play before that one that you're referring to, where the Broncos got the call for an interception, the Buffalo player's knee was down and fumbled the ball as he was going to the ground, like just spilled it on the ground. And not a single Buffalo fan said that that was a catch. They went back to the line of scrimmage and then proceeded to throw what was eventually ruled as an interception for a nearly identical style throw where he did not survive the ground and the defender came up with the ball. Now, if you're asking me as a football fan,
that was a tight one too.
Yes. If you're asking me as a football fan on whether or not I think that the NFL should change that rule in terms of incomplete pass versus interception, yes, I actually do think that. Because when you're in a contested catch situation like that one was, I think the Buffalo game should have been called an incomplete pass, not an interception. And I think that it should have then ended up going back to, I think that would have been a fourth down in that scenario.
Yeah, should have went back to the Bills.
But it should have gone back to the Bills for a fourth down and see what happens. But
it should have. Without a doubt.
But let's also not forget, Chiefs fan, in the end zone, the drive before that, when at the very earlier stages of that particular drive that we're referring to here, Josh Allen was in the end zone like 6 yards deep. And DJ Jones had two dudes holding him back. And with that penalty, the Bills would have had a safety and lost the game.
Yep.
It was not called. It was so egregious that the announcers called it out on the broadcast. And so, look, one way or another, the Bills had actually lost that game through whether or not be that interception and the field goal or what would have been the safety. The Broncos happened to win that game. We just did. And that's cool. Everyone has a good game, and some people have games that they just kind of lose. At the end of the game, at the end of the day, though, you can't turn the ball over 5 times because you typically lose those games. It just is what it is.
Okay,
and
so
that's that.
So if I may, so if you put KC Chiefs fan for life up there,
which one?
9303.
837. Okay. Am a fan talking? Resign? You trying to grow a show or what? So So since I don't want to get on cam, what does that mean? My points are valid? No. What the point that what I was trying to say is we've tried to get a Chiefs fan in here for a long time and no one will. So now your points in the chat do matter without a doubt. There's no question. But I don't know why a Chiefs fan wouldn't come in here with the rest of the AFC West and want to argue their points or actually talk about their points, because that's what we do. Here, the three of us and Jack Kenna before me, all we do is talk about our teams and how and what we saw of the other teams on what they should do and what they shouldn't do and how the things happen. We're not trying to bash you. We're just trying to figure out why we can't get a Chiefs fan to come in this show. You would think that they'd be knocking down the door. But maybe it's the fact that the dynasty's over. And they're just not interested anymore. So to
piggyback off Nav a little bit, it is kind of tough to find Chiefs fans in the wild. And that, when I say wild, social media, because I've tried to get a few guys. I don't have a massive following, but I know Nav, he's got his, maybe he says it to his channel. He's got his own channel. Maybe his Raider friends know some Chiefs fans. We are KC Chiefs fans for life.
No issues on the channel at all with anybody coming in.
We are looking for a Chiefs representative.
We
had one for a while, and Alex, he left to go do another show, and he had a kid and whatnot. Wish him all the best, but we are genuinely trying to get another Chiefs fan like ourselves, especially when the season kicks off, or maybe,
draft and everything too.
Draft. Because it sucks when we're talking about our team and there's still one big giant team that we've missed out on. So we're all actively
and that's my
trying.
point.
Yeah.
Right.
And I get that you like to talk trash, Chiefs fan, but we do too as well. We just try to keep the cussing down to a minimum.
It's not trash. It's really not trash talk. It's kind of like if you look, Rich, at 841. Wow, big take to say the dynasty's over. Well, but we don't have anybody in here to tell us it's not. That's the thing. You know what I mean?
In fairness,
let's
be honest though.
But it doesn't mean we don't value your opinion.
No. The two things are different. Like, generally speaking, what seems to happen in the NFL, even within division, right? So you typically have tiers and layers, right? So the AFC West, a lot of the times, has had dominant teams within it. So the Chiefs over the last little bit have been that dominant team. Before that was the Broncos. Sorry, You can't argue that. It just was what it was. The Broncos were that dominant team. And then, we've ebbed and flowed in terms of the other teams, in and around that time as well, right? Fair enough, is what it is. Now, as we're going through where we're at right now, the Chiefs are at a very pivotal crux right now.
That's for sure.
It is undeniable at this stage, regardless of Mahomes' injury or anything else. I'm sorry, it's a fact. The Chiefs were slated at number 3 within the division.
Yes.
They just were. And so then the question is, was this a single down year, or was this a, ebb and flow, readjust, rebuild, get some new talent in, and then kind of go back through a success window again? And let's be honest, Andy Reid is definitely the coach that can turn that team around. He is definitely a coach that can turn that team around. He's got the offensive chops, he's got the vision, and he definitely has the young guys' respect because they've seen what he has done overall. So, and Chiefs fan, I clicked on the wrong thing because we got another chat in here. I completely agree. You had a top 5. At one point, you had a top 5 offense. But you need that defense and the flip side of that in order to continue to succeed. You had some struggles on your offensive line where you guys slipped a little bit as the year went on, right? Like that's totally fair. But the question is, can you turn it around in short order where you're being truly competitive with the Broncos and the Chargers? Because right now the Chargers are nipping at the heels of the Broncos to be the top in the AFC West. And I think it's a viable and fair comment to make that until the Chiefs can now prove that they're back, to ask questions, right? I think it's totally fair to do so. And let's be honest, I was probably the most, and probably am still the most critical Broncos fan of my team on the internet, on podcast. I just am.
That is true.
Like I
was actually surprised by because I missed last week's show. I was surprised by your score prediction. I was like, that doesn't sound like Richie. He's coming in hot with this prediction. He's very confident about this, but overall,
I was expecting more of a defensive game from the Broncos, and that's where my score prediction largely came from. Is I thought that the O-line that has given up like a tremendous number of sacks in this year, I thought that the D-line for the Broncos was going to show up against the O-line of the Patriots. That's kind of where my score prediction came from, which was warranted, by the way. Like over the course of the year, like I've got evidence to back that up. So
yeah, understandable, man.
Yeah,
understandable. Where do we go now? Where do we go here? You guys want to get into?
So we're going to go into the coaches, man. We're going to go right into
stuff?
the coaches. I think that we're going to get right into the off season next week's show. We're going to go into all of our teams, what we think, and all that kind of stuff. That's for later. Broncos lost. It's unfortunate. We will see what happens in the Super Bowl. We will start getting into a Super Bowl prediction at the end of next week's show as well. To get into our scores and stuff like that. So we'll go from that. But let's start getting into some coaches.
Who do you want to go first? I think Nav's 10-100ing right now. So
yep. So how about you dig in a little bit to some of the coaches, and then I will talk about the Broncos coaches and the changes there.
Okay.
After.
Well, we still don't have a DC. We lost Jesse Minter to the Ravens.
Yep.
Heartbreak, man. It's like you had a good thing for like 2 years, top defense for 2 years, and many different categories. And he leaves, and that was kind of the thing Jim said. When Jesse got to LA, Jim was like, "I want to get this guy a head coaching gig." Or maybe that was their deal. Maybe that was like a plan behind the scenes. And he didn't get any interviews last offseason, I think, which was pretty surprising to the fan base, considering, what Jim had said and what we had saw with the defense. And then this year, he was like the hot name, right? I think he had an interview request by every team that was available with looking for head coach. He goes to the Ravens. It was kind of like one of those things that, everybody saw coming. It was like a perfect fit, essentially. And because he has familiarity with the front office, with the staff. But I like what he's doing so far. He brought in probably the top O-line coach, one of the top O-line coaches from Atlanta, I think Ledford, who his strong suit is the outside zone, which with Lamar and Derrick Henry, that's got to be lethal. And then I don't think they're done with their staff there. They keep bringing in guys. I think they requested to interview Doyle, who worked under Ben Johnson with the Chicago Bears. So, yeah, man, I think I'm going to that game. The Chargers play in Baltimore next year. I'll probably be going to that game to see this matchup.
Nice.
I think it should be really good. I keep missing out on the games that are right up the road from me, so I might as well just go. For all that who don't know in the chat, born and raised in Southern California. I live in Maryland now, so I got, if the Chargers ever come out east, I got 2 teams right above me. But all right, before I get into the OC, the Chargers re-signed T.R. Tart, our D tackle, who bounced around and has been fantastic for us. He's a fan favorite. Everybody loves him. He he kind of made a statement week 1 with that infamous like slap punch to the face to Travis Kelce. He had a really good statistical year. He does a lot of the dirty work. And the Chargers let go of Poona Ford before he came, and really screwed him. It was like, man, you let go of Poona, a guy of that caliber. Well, they got lucky by getting Tiaratar, who I guess had like character issues with other teams or whatnot. Seemed to have found a home here in LA, and everybody loves him. And he's bigger and younger, and they signed him to a 3-year, $37 million deal, $20 million guaranteed. So that was quick. And I think one of the reasons they did that is, and I think they're going to try to do some other stuff, is to block these guys from going with Jesse to Baltimore. So that was good. The next one that I'm really worried about is Odafe Owe, who we traded from the Ravens. I think we gave up a 5th-round pick for him. I hope they can get a deal done with him with the unknown certainty of Khalil Mack this offseason. And then let's get into the coach, man, which kind of put a lot of fans – they were freaking out, especially on X. Fans were just freaking out about Mike McDaniel. Now, when the Chargers and I guess any other team like requests to interview somebody, they make a post. They like, hey, we've completed an interview with so-and-so. And the only way the Charger fan base on X, Twitter, knew about the Mike McDaniel thing is there was a fan who worked at the Manhattan Beach Hotel who actually saw them sitting down. They weren't at the Bolt, which is the facility. They were at a beach hotel on a patio, and it was Mike McDaniel, Jim Harbaugh, and John Spanos. And they were sitting there, and that's when the whole fan base was like, holy crap, they're interviewing Mike McDaniel, who is also in consideration for head coaching gigs throughout the NFL, because like we said, it was like 10 available or something like that. And then we didn't hear anything.
Crazy.
We didn't hear anything for like days. The Chargers didn't say, hey, we completed an interview. They didn't make that post. So we're like, whoa, what was going on? But then we saw like Pelissero, Schefter, Rappaport, Rossini. They kind of put out these posts like, it's understanding that Mike McDaniel, so I keep putting the S on there, will take the job if he doesn't get a head coaching gig. So people are like, so the fans are like, oh, and then, oh, because the Raiders, all these teams, and, everybody's stressed out for a week, and he eventually became the Chargers OC, which the fan base is excited for because these last 2 years under Greg Roman have not been great offensively. Ravens fans did warn us. They're like, good luck with Greg Roman, dude. And they were right. So salute to the Ravens fans that warned us about Greg Roman. This is the first time Jim Harbaugh has had a different OC than Greg in the NFL, is with Mike. And I think a lot of this also had to do with his wife. She's from LA. She wants to go back. And, Mike, he did a long presser. He did like a 40-minute presser with the Charger beat writers. He's been on like a couple different shows. I like what he's saying. I'm really intrigued by how this marriage between him and Harbaugh is going to work. They both like to run the ball.
I don't.
You don't what? Like the marriage?
I don't like anything about it. Nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Rich. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm sorry.
I don't like anything about it. I don't like anything about it. It is not going to bode well for my Broncos, and I'm not a fan. So,
well, we don't know that yet. Let's pump the brakes.
He's a very good OC.
I'll admit it, man. I was like, this guy's a clown in Miami as the head coach. I was like, look at this dude vaping on the sidelines. I mean, look, he came up to the presser. In his presser, he was wearing a $12,000 jacket. Like, it's the complete opposite of Justin and Jim. These guys wear free clothes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, very frugal with their money. And this dude's just, balling in Gucci and Louis and everything. But as I'm digging into this guy and people from around the league, they know who he is. I mean, dude, when this guy, he's been with many teams, right? Throughout his career. I could pull it up, but just take my word. But one of the things is when in 2011, he was with the Washington then Redskins, but now Commanders. He was coaching with both Shanahans, McVay and LaFleur were all on that team. Like, it was like the mecca of these coaches all just at one time. And I don't think the Commanders or the Redskins knew what they had really, but I don't know the contract deals. I know that he's talked to Justin already. And from what I heard, I think I heard him say that he's going to watch every game Justin's ever played and try to design it for him that way. I'm excited for the run game because the whole time under Greg Roman, he's like, can you imagine Justin with a run game? And it never really happened. It never came to fruition. It was there in spurts, but it wasn't a consistent thing. Yeah, it was like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, some games it was there, but that was against bottom tier defenses. Now, is this going to be different scheme wise because he's been primarily a zone guy, right? And then, what the Chargers were currently running these last 2 years was a gap scheme. So I think this is going to be a complete different offense that really nobody's seen before. Because people were asking him about Miami and such, and he was pretty much saying that Miami was a different situation. It was a special situation. We got Tua. I mean, they had Tua, but they had Tyreek, Waddle, A-Chain. These guys are all track stars, right? Chargers don't have track stars on their team. They have good young talent, in Hampton, Ladd, Trey Harris, Oronde Gadsden, QJ. I've seen a lot of fans floating out the idea that he might be a trade bait, especially with the low capital we have going in this draft. So it's going to be really interesting to see this come to fruition. And I don't think we really see it until like maybe 4 weeks into the season of how this is going to work. But I thought I wouldn't like this guy. I thought this guy would have like worn on me listening to him, but I've watched him do these interviews and I was like, holy God, this guy's like a savant. Like, this should be really fun if they can get the right pieces in there for him. This should be fun. Now on the downside, losing Jesse, now I'm worried. I'm like, oh great, now our defense is gonna suck and our offense is gonna be good. Like, I hope they can find the happy medium, and not just have one side of the ball drop off. Because this year our offense, like, if metric wise, was like in the 20s, right? Like, that's not good, dude. You don't want to go into
You're mediocre.
Yeah, you don't want to go in the playoffs with an offense in the 20s, your O-line dead last in the NFL, and then a top defense. It's just not going to work, man. You need an upper half in everything, right? But he has a lot of connections. He's pretty funny. I mean, I know you guys are fans of other teams, but if you guys want to watch a really good interview, watch his interview, his Chargers presser. He was on Pat McAfee as well. I thought it was really interesting, but I think this is
what dude just reminds me of Weezer.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Yeah.
He just reminds me of like Weezer, like the lead singer of Weezer. He's got that vibe. He's like nerd rock. Like that's his look. That's his jam. He was the dude that was like, he could dissect the high school football game like nobody's business, but anytime he tried to step foot on the field, he got himself rocked.
Yeah, I mean, I think
he was the dude that knew all the. He played wide receiver. Wide receiver
at Yale too, which is weird. He played for an Ivy League school.
He's all brain and no brawn is basically the whole point.
Richie, didn't he
And
start out as a ball boy for the Broncos? I think he started
Yes,
out
he
like
did.
super young with the Broncos as like a ball boy or something. It's just, it's
yeah,
a fast. I think because he grew up in Aurora, Colorado, and actually our
yeah.
special teams coach right now, Ficken, they went to the same high school together. I think Ficken was a senior and McDaniel was a freshman, but so there's some connections. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. There's probably going to be some growing pains. They still got to get a lot of things fixed in LA. And then they made another hire, which kind of made sense, is he brought over an O-line coach from Miami, Butch Berry. Wasn't my first choice. I know nothing about this guy. I did a quick dive into him. And
I do
I'm
not
just
like him.
Yeah, I'm like, some people like him. Some people are like not a fan of him. I think he spent 1 year with the Broncos. But I think it's
He
going to
was
help.
awful. He was awful.
He was like an assistant with you guys though, right? He wasn't your guys' main coach. But the thing is, the one thing I do like about this guy is he does have OC and tight end kind of ties as well. So that should be interesting. But I really wanted the guy the Ravens got in Ledford from Atlanta. But Butch Berry will have to do for now. And let's face it, I don't care what anybody says. He's got to be an upgrade from Mike Devlin, who they fired. Mike Devlin. How he has a job in the NFL, I have no clue. The guy's offensive lines have all been the bottom of the league every year he's been a an O-line coach. Hey, O-line. So saying the O-line suck again, it could very well, but at least if it does suck this time, Justin should have some easy passes or some runs to do, because from what I'm hearing from people that are kind of in touch with Miami, they did not pump a lot of resources into the O-line. So this guy had to like make do with what he had, I guess, if that's saying or whatever. But look, I think they averaged like 4.7 yards a clip this season, but A-chain, right?
Kenna, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, that's fun. I mean, it's true. But no, Chiefs fan, you're right, dude. Injuries are a thing, and yeah, man. Like
they plagued you this year.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the reason. I mean, early.
Well, I mean, we had injuries, but then we also had poor play.
I mean, KC Chiefs fan, that plagued you too, big time. Yeah. Raiders I couldn't figure out how to freaking. They had to change positions on everyone all year long. It could never get any continuity. Injuries, yeah, there were some, but it didn't have anything to do with the season, the way it went.
Even with how bad that O-line was, I was still surprised that they went 5-1 in the division and made it to the playoffs. But scoring 3 points in the playoffs is unacceptable. And so
Costa's going back, bro. Costa, that dude's going back. Still mad about the roughing the passer call against Ray Hamilton on Ken Stabler. That's going back.
Paul, what the hell,
deep.
Brother?
That's deep back. I'll be 55 in March. I'm not sure I remember that play.
That's funny.
Next level Raider shit right there.
And then we'll wrap it up with some coaching stuff. But as far as DC, the Chargers are casting a really wide net. I got a feeling Minter's probably going to poach a few of these coaches, which I'm not too excited about, especially with Clinksdale or Elston, our D-line coach. Really good player. The whole fan base is predicting Clinksdale or Elston get promoted as the DC, which would keep familiarity.
DC, yeah.
Yeah, which I would like. But just before the show popped on, they was like one of those notifications from the Chargers. It was like, we just completed an interview with Chris O'Leary, and he was our safeties coach in 24, and he left to go to Western Michigan as their, I think, OC or DC or something like that. So they just re-interviewed him. They're casting a wide net. They have interviewed quite a few for DC, so we'll see about that. I would like them to keep kind of that Minter scheme intact. I really like how it plays. They run a hybrid. There's a guy in one of my charter chats. He's like, I want to go to a 4-3 defense. I want to go to 4-3. He kept saying it. And
I gotta be careful with that.
And I'm like, because we had a 4-3 under Staley. And I'm just like thinking about it. I'm like, hang on. Like Minter runs, like if you go to base, like you're usually running base defense.
Ran. Ran in the past.
Sorry. When you ran, now you're getting me all jacked up. But when you're in base defense, it's usually first down, second down, third down. That's when it just goes to nickel, the dime. But Minter, when he was these last 2 years in LA, he did a hybrid. There's only a few teams that do hybrid in this right now. It's kind of, it's like we got 32 teams, and you could pretty much say that 12 teams are 4-3.
No, Jack, 3-4. It was
12 teams are 3-4. And then there's a few teams that run a hybrid scheme, which is out of base, they will run either 4-3 or 3-4. Yeah. And that's what the Chargers have been doing these last 2 seasons. And I want to stick with that. I love that. I love the flexibility. I love just confusing the hell out of offenses. So
DZ, who's behind Minter as far as who's your like DC line coach or whatever?
Yeah, so Mike Elston is the D line coach, and then Klinkstell's our cornerback coach. Those two would be in succession of Minter, but they've
Do you want to see them elevated, or?
Oh yeah, I would love to see Klink or Elston, because that means we get to retain them and not lose them to another team, and they know what the hell they're doing. But look, they're casting a wide net. I mean, I've heard fans say bring Sean McDermott over here, and have him be the DC. But Sean, I think, runs a primarily 4-3 style defense, which I'm not opposed to, but I like who they have personnel wise right now. We've got a young DN in Tuli Peloto, Tongan dude. He can put his hands in the dirt, or he can rush standing up. You know what I mean? Like I like the fluidity, the flexibility of it. I don't want to just go back to one style of base and just live like that.
Well, I agree with KC Chiefs fan for life just said
3-4.
3-4 is better if you don't have a heavy front four.
I mean, you got to have some dogs to run 3-4 though, dude. You have got to have some D tackles and DNs You have to have D tackles, and your ends can be able to tackle. Yeah, they have to be able to tackle. Yeah, and you're right. I did think I did hear about the McDermott thing as well.
And you gotta have linebackers that are freaking next world.
Yeah,
running a 3-4.
I agree. And there we got some question marks at linebacker, because Navarro Bowman was our linebacker coach. Famous Niner guy. Yep. He's stepping away from coaching. His son is like a top basketball player in the state of California, and he wants to be there for him. So we're going to lose a linebacker coach. Probably going to lose more coaches. So It's going to be interesting to see how they fill out this coaching candidacy. Probably going to be a lot of guys none of us know about, right? But it is what it is.
So I want to just quickly go through a list of the coaches here in terms of hirings. The Falcons hired Matt Ryan to be the team's president of football.
Yep.
Which
they hired Stefanski to become their next head coach.
He's probably happy
after firing Raheem Morris. The Falcons will hire Tommy Reese to be their offensive coordinator, and they're going to hire Craig Augerman as the special teams coordinator for the team. Dallas Cowboys are going to be hiring Christian Parker as their defensive coordinator. Baltimore Ravens, as you alluded to earlier, have hired your former DC in Jesse Minter. Buffalo Bills have promoted Joe Brady to become their next head coach after firing Sean McDermott.
That was interesting.
Which I have not seen a single Bills fan that is happy with that particular move. I'm just saying, I don't get it. So let's wait and see what happens there.
You would have thought Brian Daboll would have been like
yes,
in line to go back there.
Right. Browns are hiring Ravens offensive coordinator Tom Monken to be their head coach.
Yep.
So that is interesting to say the least. The Lions are set to hire offensive coordinator Drew Petzing to replace John Morton.
That's a
great.
Yep. I agree.
Yep. Packers are going to hire for their DC Jonathan Gannon to become their next DC.
That's a great hire too.
That was a great hire. I was like, okay, that's. I'm a little worried about that one because they were already a good team and he's a good coach. So that's going to be scary. Yeah, that's going to be scary.
We just had terrible offense that couldn't do anything.
Yeah. The Chiefs, KC Chiefs fan for life. Eric Bieniemy is returning to the Kansas City Chiefs to be their offensive coordinator.
That's amazing for them.
And by the way, fantastic move. Fantastic move. Bieniemy is, from what I can tell, he is what Andy Reid needs. Reid is a big ideas guy that has a lot of things and stuff. Bieniemy is a details guy. He's the details guy.
He's like,
no,
easy.
No, I don't think so. I think Andy Reid is like, oh, well, we'll get to it. And here's the idea for the thing. Let's work on the stuff and let's do all these really big ideas. Bieniemy is the guy that says, all right, that's the idea. Here's all the steps in the process.
Right. And Bieniemy also is a master of the running. He's a master of the running.
Right. So I was actually pretty happy with that move, and I think that would be that's gonna be a great hire for them. Good job. Chargers are hiring Mike McDaniel to be their offensive coordinator. Dolphins, they have hired John Eric Sullivan.
Mike McDaniel's a freaking that's scary, actually. Yeah. Mike McDaniel as the offensive coordinator with Jim Harbaugh. That is scary.
I would love to be a fly in their like in the room when they're working together.
Yeah. John Eric Sullivan for the Dolphins has been hired as their GM, and they've also hired Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley as their next head coach.
A lot of people don't like that. I'm curious to see what happens with that.
But it's going to be one of those young coach hires that nobody really knows. See what happens. You know what I mean?
Correct. Giants have hired John Harbaugh as their next head coach, and they've hired Denard Wilson as their defensive coordinator.
Oh.
So that'll be interesting to see how that team looks, because they were already on the ascension, and I fear actually that they've kind of stabilized that organization now with the Harbaugh hire. That'll be an interesting one. I'm not going to lie. New York Jets have hired Brian Ducker as their defensive coordinator. Steelers have hired Mike McCarthy as their next head coach. We talked about that earlier. We got the Buccaneers have hired Zach Robinson as the offensive coordinator.
That's good.
Tennessee Titans have hired Robert Saleh as their next head coach.
I really like that for them, to be honest with you. And they also got an OC, did they not?
And they got Brian Daboll as their next offensive coordinator, which that's going to be a dangerous team, in my opinion, next season.
Dude, that's going to be interesting, because either these two are going to butt heads, or because we all saw the Saleh experiment with New York, right? That was it's a different organization. It's not a great organization.
He didn't have the support.
Right. I agree.
I think Robert Sala is a freaking fantastic freaking head coach. He just didn't have the freaking support of the upper management to freaking bring the right players in.
So my verdict is still out on him, but this is what I'm going to say. He can lean on Brian to be with
Sala's a leader.
He's going to have a guy who's been there, done that.
All Sala needs to do is be a leader. That's it.
Tennessee will be interesting. I'm intrigued.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, we got one more to go through, and then I'm going to jump over to my Broncos for the last wave before we go over to you and Nav in terms of the Raiders here. Okay. We got the Washington Commanders have promoted quarterback coach David Balaw as the offensive coordinator, and they have hired the Vikings defensive backs coach as the pass game coordinator, Daronte Jones. So that's the final list of those that have been hired across the NFL. There's obviously a fair number that have been let go that are still, some of them still have open positions, and that, that's the nature of the beast, so to speak. I'm going to move on to my Denver Broncos and talk about.
May I ask a question right quick since you mentioned Commanders?
Yep.
Where is Kingsbury? What's he doing?
I don't think he's been hired.
I haven't heard shit from him.
He's back in Thailand.
He walked away from the Commanders. Where is he and what's he doing? Is he just hanging out in the fucking background waiting? I'm sorry, I threw a F-bomb again. Damn it.
Let's hang on, because there's rumors. Let's see. What if I've seen?
It's been quiet. Nobody's interviewed him, hardly at all.
Did the Eagles hire an OC yet?
Yeah, they did.
Did you say that, Richie? I'm sorry if I missed it, man.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it. Didn't you say it?
No Eagles.
Oh, Eagles have not gotten an OC yet.
No Eagles. So I agree. I mean, it's weird that he's not been mentioned because he was even being thrown around as, one of the hot candidates once he walked away and all that kind of stuff. And yeah.
He walked away from the Commanders and just went dark.
Yeah.
His name's not even been mentioned in anything.
Yeah. So moving on to the Broncos at that point here now, after the championship game, the Broncos made 3 coaching changes. Not just 1, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Denver Broncos fired their offensive coordinator in Joe Lombardi. This is something that Joe Lombardi is familiar with, being fired, although not necessarily by Sean Payton.
Only 4 times.
He's been fired a whack of times by a bunch of people, but Sean Payton has typically not been one of them. So this is a first for him. We have also fired wide receivers coach Kiri Colbert. And the one that sort of surprised me a fair amount, to be quite honest, was we fired our cornerbacks coach in Addison Lynch. And the reason why I was very surprised with Addison Lynch being fired is Addison Lynch is responsible. Here's a list of names. Just bear with me as I go through this because I think this is important. Okay.
Okay. Go.
Pat Surtain.
Yeah.
He was the coach that took him from rookie to defensive player of the year. Okay. That's no small feat. Number 1. Number 2, Riley Moss is widely regarded, despite his penalties, as being like a lockdown corner at the NFL on the other side of Pat Surtain, who's like one of the most targeted cornerbacks and still has one of the best pass defended records in the entire league.
Yes.
And that's all under that dude's coaching and tutelage.
What
he
is
took
that?
He took Jaquan McMillan from an undrafted free agent rookie to who is a dude that is, if he does leave the Broncos, will be one of the highest paid slot corners in the NFL for sure.
Yeah,
Guess what the
Okay.
Raiders need? Guess what the Raiders need? They need a freaking slot
Okay.
corner.
Yeah. And then he's got a bunch of other guys like Turner Yell and a few other corners that he has coached up to being serviceable players, if not like 1B kind of guys on the Denver Broncos roster.
I can't believe that Broncos would fire a single defensive coach.
right.
None. Zero. I can't believe that would happen. It has to be a freaking head coach like argument type deal.
And then you still have coaches, Richie, that are
Sean Payton's that dude though, DZ.
looking to get poached.
That dude, when you oppose him, you're fired.
Makes you
He's
wonder,
that dude.
right? Makes you wonder if like somebody did say something he didn't like. I mean, what doesn't Sean call the plays though, right? So how did
No,
Joe?
even on defense as a head coach, seems like Sean Payton's always been that dude. If you oppose him and give him a hard time and say, no, you're fucking this up on defense, you're an offensive guy. You know, if those dudes have been doing that, that's why they got fired.
Yeah, I don't understand but I mean, he's a cornerback coach. Who knows? Maybe the cornerbacks were like, this guy sucks, or they had a problem with him. Who knows?
I don't.
There could have been something.
How do you make them better though? They were freaking world class this year.
They've been pretty good these last couple of years. But the thing that surprised me is not really surprised me. I'm just throwing it out there to show because I'm not a Lombardi fan. But Sean Payton calls the plays, and Lombardi's the OC, so he got fired. So what is Sean Payton's like? We need to change our offense up. Maybe he's like, this offense isn't working for us. I think he wants to. Change it up.
Also got to understand the definition of an offensive coordinator in reality. An offensive coordinator is not necessarily a play caller. An offensive coordinator is a dude that sets up a game versus the next team you're playing against. So even if your head coach is the play caller, that's the dude that sits down, game plans, and says, this is what will be effective.
Yeah.
And then your play caller plays or calls those plays. And then if it doesn't work for him, it's like, wait, okay, maybe it's not working for me. You know what I mean? It's not exactly what we're trying to do.
It's also a matter of some of the schemes and some of the blocking schemes and also some of the personnel that go onto the field as well that would fall under the coordinator. So again, remember how I said like 1 + 1 sometimes does just simply equal 2 and therefore the guy's gone? I think this is kind of one of those scenarios where the Broncos had Bo Nix, who is clearly showing that he has the clutch gene when he plays the game. But yet the Broncos offense was schemed and designed in such a way that was just bad. Like it was bad. It wasn't the play calls. The play calls set them up to actually do well. The play calls were designed and set up to actually do well. But the problem is that it was the actual scheme itself.
I'm talking about the defense for you guys. Is Vance Joseph saying that your cornerbacks coach needs to go? I mean, for crying out loud, it was one of the best freaking secondaries in the league. Why is he fired? I mean, why?
There has been no information. No information.
Understood.
So it could have been a request.
It could be, but you don't fire somebody from a request. But what I'm saying is, it's kind of like, is Vance Joseph looking at freaking Sean Payton saying, I could actually freaking do a better job with the secondary, and it'd come down to one game. You know what I mean? When they actually had a little bit of a mix-up in the secondary in that championship game. You know what I mean? That actually was a game changer, you know? And, I mean, was that cornerback's coach saying, no, you do this, I don't care what Vance says? Or was it I don't care what Sean says type thing? I mean, because why would you disconnect the coaching staff that is one of the best secondaries in the NFL? Why would you disconnect any of that defense?
Well,
Why?
you can say the same about Joe Lombardi. I mean, if you look, yes and no, because if you look up the Denver Broncos rankings, total offense, they ranked 10th this year, passing offense 11th, rushing offense 16th. We know why that is. And then scoring offense 14th. So that's pretty good. So are you saying that Sean is like, no,
okay.
we want to bring this up higher? I mean, maybe he's
I think he sees Lombardi as my opinion on this is very clear. I think that he sees Joe Lombardi as he was a competent stabilizing force when he came into the Broncos, and he stabilized the Broncos offense. Sean Payton, and I don't believe he's wrong in this, this is just my opinion, is I think Sean Payton is a very gifted play caller. But at the end of the day, if the scheme and the way that things are positioned coming into the game are out of whack, Sean Payton's play calling is climbing an uphill battle to overcome the poor scheme and personnel that were planned as part of the game plan to then win the game at the end of the day. And I think that Sean Payton has enough football knowledge, and I have enough faith in what he's shown to do since his joining the Broncos, that he has basically come to the conclusion that the Broncos, in order to do and take the next step that they need to make, especially with Bo Nix, is that they need a more competent and more innovative offensive play caller to pair with Sean Payton, and they need to move on from Joe Lombardi in order to make that happen.
I will tell you so far the best moves that have been made in the AFC West is the Chiefs and the Chargers as far as coaching. Mentor, that's huge. Mentor move, you got to do that because Mentor doesn't belong in that type of deal with the Chargers, right?
I'm trying to look up Davis Webb because I know he's out available.
So here's my thought on Davis Webb. Davis Webb, I think he wants to be an OC, but I don't think he wants to be an OC where he's at. He's got it. When you make that move from what is he, quarterback's coach and running backs coach? Isn't that what he is? I think.
No, quarterback coach, I think.
Yeah. So if you make that move, you do it direct, and to be an offensive coordinator for the first time, you can't do it with the team you're with. You just can't. You know what I mean? It never works. I would see Davis Webb needs to go somewhere else if he wants to be an offensive coordinator. It's logical progression. Two head coaches that have been fired have been hired as head coaches. Typically, that doesn't happen either. Typically, they have to go back to be a coordinator, then get rehired as a head coach. Robert Saleh, perfect example. John Harbaugh is a wild card on that. I mean, you got to do that. And if Tomlin was in the in the pool, which he has said that I'm not coaching next year, he would already be hired with someone. You know what I mean? So, and McCarthy took years off as well, even though once he was fired as a head coach, the second time, Now he's going to the Steelers, and he's not only the same as Mike Tomlin, but he's older than Mike Tomlin. So I don't understand that logic, but that's okay. You just I think changes are being made in a vacuum, and I think the actual NFL progression as we're going is young minds, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's
Mike McDaniel,
it's evolving. The NFL
Mike
evolves like every
McDaniel-
season.
Mike McDaniel to the Chargers is a huge hire as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That's what's making me think about this Broncos OC search a little bit, because Sean Payton's this West Coast kind of guy, right? West Coast offense deal. I looked him up. They say he's got a splash of Bill Walsh principles. Take that for however you want to take it.
Yes.
So it's like
That's where he comes
Yeah, he
from.
does.
That's where he comes from. It's
So
that
does
when
he
you
want
talk
to?
about trees,
Yeah.
the tree they talk
Right,
about
right,
comes
right.
from Bill Walsh.
So does he want to like maybe promote? Like, I know you were going against that, Nav, but maybe get a young mind in there who's got views on different stuff. I mean, more motion, more pre-snap. You know what I mean? Like things like that. Because
Well, it's
that's
like
really
Jim-
that's really not Joe Lombardi's MO, man. Joe, like Richie kind of said it about Joe. Joe's kind of the stabilizing. He's not a bad OC by any means. If you got the right personnel, it works. But I know that
Mike McDaniel got fucked by Tua. Got absolutely screwed by Tua. Sorry, I threw the F-bomb again. But Tua like destroyed him as a head coach.
Well, I'm also hearing another issue that Mike had in Miami is he let players dictate things to him.
Yeah, and as a coordinator, you don't have to worry about that.
No, Jim doesn't play that. And,
Jim don't play that game.
No, so I'm
telling you, that's a scary big time hire. Mike McDaniel to the Chargers is huge.
Yeah,
That's huge.
I'd like to see them add. I know we don't want to get into the future stuff, but I'd really like to see them add another athletic tight end to this team.
Yeah.
And then maybe I know that speed isn't the end all be all with Mike McDaniel's scheme, but they do need a speedster. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in free agency in the draft. I've seen some names floated around.
There'll be 2 tight ends that will be free agents in the draft.
I think tight ends, Nav. I kind of look through like Sports Tracks tracker, all the teams. Yeah. And out of all the groups, tight end actually looks like the best group in free agency, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't need a tight end, but
no, Hunter Henry is going to be one that you might want to think about.
Damn, he left us for the Patriots. I mean,
I know he did, but he's not going to be their number one.
What's the O lines?
Patriots are going to draft young for a tight end. So
Vegas James, what's our O line situation? I mean, dude, it's not good.
You just got to get healthy. You guys got to get
You need an Alton Slater back healthy, and then the left guard, he's a free agent this year. And then Becton, they better cut his useless ass.
Yeah, you need to get a center.
And then Bozeman, oh God, dude, I'm watching Jennings Dunker.
Yeah.
He was the East-West game and the Senior Bowl stuff. That dude is a beast. I know he's a tackle. They're projecting him to play guard, but he's like he can play center as well.
You can get Pat Coogan later.
Yep, there's him as well.
So
there's some centers in this. I would like to get a rookie center. I know everybody's talking about Linderbaum, but dude, whoever signs Linderbaum, you're making him the highest paid center in the league.
Be careful. Be careful. He's a problem too.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Richie? Richie's.
What about it?
Oh no,
just waiting for you to direct the next piece.
Oh, well, the one thing I will say about Davis Webb is I do think that the hope is that the Broncos retain him. The one thing that you guys haven't factored into this, and I don't fault you for it because I'm the Broncos fan on the panel and it's not your team, is Davis Webb was actually the offensive coordinator for at least 2 games in preseason. He actually called plays on the sideline for 2 games in preseason.
Okay.
And so it's not like this is that far-fetched that the Broncos and Sean Payton were looking at him as kind of that role potentially. So my opinion is quite simple, is I actually think that barring any major offer that he gets from some other team that he wishes to take over the Broncos, I think the Broncos are definitely seeking for him to be the offensive coordinator for the team. Now,
sense.
wild take, I think Sean Payton is also wanting to mix up some of his own play calling. And so I think that you're going to start having kind of a back and forth between Sean Payton and Davis Webb if he does stay with the Denver Broncos, where you very well could see whole games where Webb does actually take over play calling duties at certain points. And that would certainly be a departure from what we've seen from my Denver Broncos. And I think part of that is Sean Payton is probably going to want to start slowing down a little bit in terms of how much he needs to take on personally. And I believe that he has a lot of respect for the football mind that Davis Webb has and is. So I think we're going to start seeing some interesting things from my Denver Broncos going forward. I do think that pretty much is going to end the show with that, at least for now.
What about we didn't do Raiders?
Raiders. Sorry, Nav. Real quick.
Stuff, or are we just we're just down there so far that it doesn't matter?
Well, right now the unfortunate part with the Raiders is that you've interviewed a lot of people, and a bunch of people that you've interviewed have either gone elsewhere or haven't done anything yet. And so we just don't know. Like, we don't have enough information yet that I've been able to find. Although I did hear rumors today, like a big rumor today, that I'm not sure if it's been confirmed or not for sure, is that they interviewed John Gruden again for the head coach.
No, that's a lie.
Okay.
Did John give the New York Jets the big middle finger?
Yes, he did.
He's like,
he said that on Barstool. He's like, yeah, fuck that shit. I'm sorry. I threw that. I think that's 4 times I threw an F-bomb. My bad.
Yeah. So if we can maybe get to the Raiders stuff, we'll see kind of where you guys are at. Apparently, there's some additional news.
It's real quick. All right. So, 1, Harbaugh fired. Never interviewed him. Didn't care. Tomlin fired or walked away. Whatever they want to say. Never interviewed. Right? Interviewed Stefanski. Never going to be a Raider. Interviewed him anyway, just in case. Right? Interviewed a few other folks. Interviewed Kubiak. However, we have a second interview with Kubiak Saturday.
Nice.
The only second interview he is taking, as far as I can see, on any other team. So what I'm saying is all our eggs in one basket at this point. We want Kubiak as our head coach. Pretty sure it's been said, dude, whatever you want, we got you. Go win a Super Bowl. Make it happen. You know? There's no doubt in my mind Kubiak's going to be our next head coach. It's hard telling, but the weird part for me is that Kingsbury has been so quiet since he left the Commanders. Nobody mentions any of that shit. And I'll tell you what, the dream team for me, if we're going young, if we're going flat young with the Raiders and saying, let's go like young and roll hot, Kubiak head coach, Davis Webb OC, and we're going to promote Rob Leonard to the defensive coordinator. That's me. That's what
I thought you were going with Cliff as OC. I thought you were going to.
What I'm saying is, Davis Webb decides to stay with the Broncos and go to OC. Kingsbury's been quiet. His name's not been mentioned since he walked away from the Commanders.
Well, Nav, you know why I'm saying that, right? Because he is the guy that gets these young QBs going.
Yes.
He comes into spots for a few seasons with these young QBs, gets them going, and then usually dips off somewhere else.
Then he jumped. Then he bounced. However, let's remember, Kingsbury was also a head coach and failed miserably.
It's true.
Kingsbury.
Could you see a world, Nav?
The Cardinals, everybody fails there as a head coach, don't they?
Nav, could you see a world of Kubiak and Kingsbury? Kubiak as the head coach and Kingsbury to help.
Kingsbury's OC, that'd be amazing.
Usher in that Mendoza era, you know?
Because what that does is Kingsbury knows the NFL. Like, knows it from a head coach perspective.
Right.
And he can help Kubiak get through that shit. So it's one of those where, now, let's not forget. So there's a couple names that are getting left out here that are also still trying to play for or were trying to play for a Super Bowl. Shula. So if we go defensive coach, Chris Shula's always been on our list as well. He's not in anybody's freaking mouth either.
Nope. He was supposed to be like the lock for the Steeler job, and that didn't come to fruition.
Right. There's a lot to be said, but the mere fact that the
Mike Shanahan.
No, he's talking about the other Shanahan. It's not the Mike Shanahan you think of.
Oh, okay.
It's a different Mike Shanahan.
Okay.
No, Jack, I know what you were saying, and that's a little bit heavy, but I can see it. Oh, Shula went to Arizona? Did he really?
Tiano, are you just calling your shot?
Tiano said Shula's went to Arizona. Is he head coach of Arizona? Yeah, Mike Shanahan's from Indiana.
Yeah, that's fine. No, it's just obviously, let's just say Shanahan is well known in this part.
Yes. Okay, yeah. Taino, you just derailed me with that shit. I'm like, wait, I thought Shula was still available. She's killing me. It was just a guess.
Yeah. So,
but my dream team is Kubiak, Davis Webb is the OC, and honestly, I want to freaking promote. I said freaking, not the other F word. And I want to promote Rob Leonard to DC because he's a young-minded head coach that's been doing a lot of good stuff, and he has control of the locker room. He has control of Max Crosby. He has control of everyone in that defensive room. Everyone. That's a dude that's been through the gauntlet and still remains.
Yep.
He was a Raider before all the bullshit happened.
So let's predict by next week they can't hire him.
No, it'll be after the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And the thing about it is we won't make the OC and DC decisions till the head coach decides.
Raider Nation's going to have to wait a little bit.
But I will tell you with this, Kubiak having a second in-person interview on Saturday says a lot.
Yeah. Sounds like that's the guy they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Nav, actually, the other thing that you might be wrong about is you could actually, let's say you get an agreement in principle after Saturday for Kubiak coming to your team. he could well say, I want this guy as my DC and this guy as my OC.
Absolutely.
It could well be that given availability, right? Just like if they're not like if they're out of the playoffs and stuff, they're then available to be hired on, for example, coming
Right.
inbound. It could be that you guys have an agreement in principle with Kubiak, but then your OC and DC are able to be signed ahead of Kubiak coming in.
No, I don't think we'll get an OC or DC decision before the head coach is decided. I think Spytek and Brady will allow the head coach to get his coordinators.
No, I'm not saying that they're not. My point is that if Kubiak says, I agree to that deal, but I can't sign it until my team's out of the playoffs,
Yes.
and he then says, and here's my defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator that I want you to hire,
then it could happen.
My point is that could be the jumping off point that you guys would have your coordinators ahead of your head coach, but it's not because your head coach didn't want them or didn't ask for them. It's just because they're available and he wasn't yet.
I just don't think the Raiders would agree to that until Kubiak actually signs first, because there's no way you're going to go out and sign an OC and DC and then Kingsbury says, nah, change my mind, I'm going to stay with the Seahawks.
There's probably a lot of handshake things going on in the background,
you know what I mean?
that we don't know about yet.
Raiders gotten behind banged on that kind of deal many times. So I'm just saying, my guess is this: we won't see an OC or DC sign until after the Super Bowl.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair.
I just don't see it happening unless it's like a Tom Brady freaking took you to freaking the best dinner ever, and Kubiak says, dude, I'm with you all the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally fair.
We've been screwed by that whole freaking evolution so many times. I can't imagine us doing that shit again.
Totally fair. So
yes,
I think we're in agreement.
Did Brian Flores get an interview with the Raiders? The answer is no. He declined an interview with the Raiders.
Yeah.
He declined the interview with the Raiders. The Raiders actually asked him to interview for head coach and declined it.
Yeah.
And guess what Brian Flores is going to do? He's going to be a defensive coordinator again. And the thing about it is, that's what Flores does. Brian Flores is pissed off still about getting kicked out of the freaking Dolphins, even though he didn't do anything with them. And he's still pissed off that players didn't like it.
One thing before we end this show, real quick, because I know we're wrapping up.
I think Flores would be great for the Raider mystique. Like,
oh, sure,
defensive coordinator, dude, that'd be great having that dude in there, like pushing Max Crosby around, pushing Adam, getting pissed off, making him mad. I think that would be great. But as a head coach, he doesn't belong there. Not yet. He needs to figure it out.
To prove what a dumpster fire the New York Jets are, they just interviewed. They're interviewing Greg Roman, our old.
Why not?
God,
what?
Oh my goodness!
So
I couldn't imagine being a Jets or
who's their head coach?
I don't know. Aaron Glenn, I think. Is that their head coach for the Jets, Aaron Glenn?
And here's the thing. If Aaron Glenn is interviewing Greg Roman, That means they don't have anybody else to interview. Because,
Dude, if I was like a Browns fan or a Jets fan right now, I would probably just like, can you put me in like a coma for a while? Just wake me up when we get this sorted out, please.
look, at least the Raiders drama makes sense. You can see where problems happen. But with the Browns, they've created their own. You know? The Raiders just moving from Oakland to Vegas is a problem. It's going to take time. You know, that's why I try to tell Raider fans, you go from Oakland to LA, you win a Super Bowl, then you go back to Oakland, still the same shit show in Oakland. You can only seat 45,000 people. You know, you're not making money. And then you go to Vegas where you don't have a fan base. And you have to build that shit along with building everything else. It's going to take a decade at least to try to figure this out.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
If we're calling it home base, we got to call it home base and just stick with it.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? It's and that's what it comes down to. And me and my daughter were just talking about it. I'm like, look, when everybody says we need to go back to Oakland, I'm like, to what?
There's nothing left in Oakland, man.
There's nothing there.
No, I agree. I think your first step here is getting that head coach, turning the corner, getting yourself a franchise quarterback, making changes by leveraging your cap space plus draft capital to start building your offensive line and building a vision around your head coach and the offensive vision for the team. And you're going to start stacking bricks. You're going to see modest improvements year over year where you become more and more competitive. And then eventually it'll pop. And then you're going to end up with that foundation. Yeah.
And that should scare the crap out of both of you. It really should. I mean, because it's the Raiders go through like 15-year periods where they're damn near unstoppable. It's like let's say 96 through 2006. They were constantly in the AFC Championship. You know what I mean? It was, or at least battling to be in it. You know, and they did that 10 years prior to that, and 10 years prior to that, 10 years prior to that, you know, and it's just, I just wish every Raider fan would just realize where I come from. I saw my first Super Bowl when I was 13. Saw the Raiders win a Super Bowl. Then we got Tim Brown, and that dude never won a Super Bowl. It was always a Raider right after that. You know, it sucks for a dude like Tim Brown to never get a chance to freaking sniff a Super Bowl. I got in one, you know, and it sucks for dudes like that, you know, and it sucks for Raider fans. But that's the way the Raiders operate. We have like a 10-year period where we just cannot do anything. 2016, we're moving. We're actually playing pretty well. Our franchise quarterback gets hurt. It's done at that point. You know what I mean?
I agree.
It's like DZ. You guys, I'm telling you what, if you guys would have stayed healthy the entire time and kept J.K. Dobbins, everybody would have had a problem with you this year.
Remember when Najee blew his eye out, became a Cyclops, and then tore his Achilles. And then Hampton got missed damn near half the season.
Yeah.
So,
I heard
I
me
agree.
in fantasy, by the way. Thank you, DZ, on that one. Heard me in fantasy football.
So we're going to end the show there. A lot of stuff is going to come out in the next week and a half.
Yeah.
Where all the chips are going to fall where they may. I completely agree with the Stephson. I think at this point here, the Raiders have found who they believe is their guy. The question is whether or not he agrees with what they agree, and they all kind of align up. And I think they eventually will. he's coming back in for a second interview. So I think this is just a matter of the details at this
Formality.
stage of the game. Yeah, this is formality, I think. And we
it's
will
one of
go
those
from
where
there.
You tell Kubiak, I'm bringing you in as head coach, who you want as your staff. Here's what we think. What do you think of this?
Yeah, stuff like that, I think, is what they're going to be working through, getting together the final vision, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it'll be an interesting one. Yeah, so I think it'll be an interesting one. I really do. I think it'll be a fascinating offseason once the draft gets going, because there'll be more speculation around the AFC West in terms of the direction of both the Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders, and frankly, I would also agree that there'd be some changes with the Chargers with regards to the coaching staff changes there. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining the show tonight. Hit the like button. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button as well.
Can I also say a couple more things?
Sure.
One, hey, click on and subscribe to all channels.
Yep.
Raider Shield family is mine. At DZ Wilson 57, you can get him on Instagram, and that's all your Bibles, right?
That's X. That's on Twitter. But bolt up with DZ on YouTube.
Okay, bolt
yeah,
up.
we're gonna be. I'm gonna be adding. I'm gonna be adding everyone's channel in the description for next week's show. I'm gonna be asking that to get added in, so we're gonna add those in, so we don't have to worry about it.
I also want to bring you guys into my channel from time to time, if you guys would like to.
Yeah, that's totally fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have a ton to go over. We're gonna coordinate a bunch of stuff to make sure that we get the right stuff set up for the show, get topics set up. If you have certain things you want us to go over, research, come back to you on, whatever the case may be, leave those comments down below. Click the like button, click the subscribe button, find all the channels here. You'll find those in links down below in future videos. And again, thank you everyone for joining the show with the West Side.
And and with the Patriots in there, go Seahawks. As much as I hate to say that.
I can't quite bring myself to say that. Peace!
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Tempo's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast's racking up the flame out.